Hey, it's Clayton Olson, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the three things that can make or break your relationship. This doesn't matter if you're single or in a relationship. These are universal concepts that I believe will empower you to build more resilience into your capacity to create love that lasts. The first one I'm going to talk to today is number one, you must lose the conditioning that you grew up with around relationship if it's holding you back. And here's the kicker. Oftentimes when we start to lose the conditioning that we have around what relationship is and what it should look like, it quite often feels like we are losing a part of ourselves. And so we might feel like we're sacrificing ourselves or compromising ourselves in the relationship because we're going against something that maybe we've known all our life around what relationship is. These things come from society. These ideas also come from our parents as well on what happened in their marriage. They might come from friends or authority figures when we're little. And in order for you to really create a relationship that is conscious, intentional, that is fluid, something that is allowing your individual uniqueness to shine and create the relationship from the ground up and for it to have a robust ability to last, it's so important that we let go of some of these ideas that may be faulty that are holding us back. A couple examples of these types of ideas are a relationship with the right person should be easy. I shouldn't have to change to be in relationship. If I'm not perfect, I'm not lovable. If I give an inch in relationship, then they're going to take a mile, right? So there's a way in which we're looking for power in that kind of situation, or we're trading on the currency of power in our relationship. And it's not that these things aren't necessarily true or that they don't or have not happened in the past at some point with different people, but when we are continually relating to our relationship through this conditioning, we stifle its growth. We create a glass ceiling in our capacity to relate to the other person, to really open our heart and be loved. And so we have to let this go over and over again. And as you get deeper with somebody, more of this conditioning will present itself and it has to be let go. I had one personally in my life when my partner and I moved in together. She moved into my house and there was a way in which she wanted me to clear out things in the basement in order to make room for her. And the way that she was approaching it, I felt was irrational, or that she was asking for too much. And what I realized in the midst of that, after I stopped being so aggravated and we slept on it a bit, I realized that the invitation that she was offering me was actually to be more of a relational person and to get out of my own way and to make more room for the relationship to flourish, not just myself. And so there was some conditioning I had there. The one that I was running into specifically was like, well, if I do this, then she's going to ask for more, and then I'm going to end up just being this kind of compromised man in my relationship down the road if I do this. And the exact opposite's actually true. What ended up happening is by me moving things out of the way, creating a clearing in the basement for more of her stuff to come in, which seems really reasonable as I'm talking about it right now. The exact opposite happened. If anything, I instilled more trust and respect and mutual understanding into the relationship. And so that's just an example of where some of the conditioning can seem so real, and we can have such a tight grip on an idea that may be hitting its expiration date that we got from when we were younger, that it's so important to let go of. The second idea that can make or break your relationship is to begin to see all of the challenges that happen inside the crucible of this partnership with somebody as an initiation rather than something that is happening to you. It's very easy for people, myself included, at times, that when challenges hit and things take an unexpected turn, whether it's sickness, a job loss, some type of reoccurring fight that's happening, something that happens in the relationship dynamic, to feel like a victim, to feel at effect of it. And we always have a choice about how we interpret what is happening in our relationship. And I think there's two primary paths that we can take. One which is going to be disempowering and one which is going to be empowering. One that's not sustainable and one that will have us to continue to create anti-fragility into our connection. Victimhood or creatorship. And creatorship is the perspective I'm inviting you to adopt here, which is to look at the challenges that occur as initiations that will give you an opportunity to cultivate very specific values in your life, character traits that you may not otherwise have the opportunity to cultivate, like forgiveness, like patience, strength, acceptance, surrender. I can't tell you how many times I have been tested in my relationship and just even tested in my life, because this truth doesn't just happen in relationship, it happens in life as well, where something happens and I can either resign and feel like a victim and feel beat up, like the universe is against me, like life is against me, or it's an opportunity for me to surrender something, to surrender control, to surrender needing certainty, to surrender needing power in a situation. And so I get to cultivate and practice surrender through circumstances that happen in my life. I get to practice forgiveness. I get to practice creating more resilience and strength and maybe faith in the unknown through things that happen that have me feeling afraid or feeling like something's urgent. In that moment, maybe I get to practice more patience. And so this might seem like an obvious maneuver, but the more that we can get in touch with the thing that we are being asked to cultivate within us inside of the relationship, we stop seeing tragedy and bad things that happen as only a loss in our life. We really start to see the opportunity there. We really start to see the gift that is present, that the container that is created by the circumstance that can really allow us to flourish and become more of who we want to be, more of the kind of person that we can love, more anti-fragile with life. So that's the second one, to see the challenges and the pain that happens in your relationship, because there will be a lot of it if you're with somebody for a lifetime, to see that as an initiation, to continually initiate different aspects of you into existence. And then finally, the third idea that can make or break your relationship is to notice all the ways in which you are unconsciously or consciously looking for your partner to be responsible for your feelings or to make you happy. It is not your partner's responsibility to make you happy. Sure, they have an influence over that based on how they're showing up in their own life. Absolutely. However, if we are putting too much power in their lap to have control over our emotional experience, and we are not in the driver's seat of our own happiness, we will quickly slip into victimhood and we will feel powerless in our relationship because we will be expecting that the only way we can save ourselves is if our partner changes and does X, Y, Z. Here's a way of looking at relationship that I think is incredibly powerful. And it restores agency in your lap. It's one that I invite my clients to step into. And it's to see that only one person needs to change in a relationship in order for the entire dynamic to transform. A relationship is a system. It is a system between two people. And if one person changes their positioning in the relationship, meaning that you start to see your partner differently, you start to cultivate a new perspective. You start to look for things that you haven't been looking for. You start to listen to your partner from a different perspective. You start to see yourself from a different perspective, which actually happens in the type of work that I do with people. The whole relationship starts to change, and what you might find is that your partner either comes along with you and actually starts to change on the outside in 3D reality, or there's a way in which you start to see that the ways in which you were wanting them to change were actually you wanting to change. And it was actually a projection. And so what happens is a miracle can occur in the relationship where there's a new level of communication and a new dynamic begins to blossom between the two of you because one of you is committed and deeply doing the work, which again can make room for that other person to do it as well. Now, that is not a guarantee, right? But what is a guarantee is that as you spread your wings in the relationship, as you come fully alive in the relationship and really love who you're being and live according to your values, the relationship will have no choice but to evolve. And it will either evolve and bring that other person with you, or it will evolve and the relationship will naturally complete. But at least you will have clarity that you did all that you could. You did not break up from a disempowered place, but rather you broke up from a place of maybe truly outgrowing each other and just moving different directions. And so those are the 3 make or break ideas for relationship. Number 1, you've got to lose the conditioning that you grew up with in order to create a successful partnership. And sometimes losing that conditioning feels like you're losing yourself, only to find a better version of you on the other side. Number 2, you've got to see the challenges that come up in your life and relationship as initiations that are calling forth a deeper, more powerful version of you to come online. And then finally, it only takes one person to change your relationship, and that your partner is not responsible for your happiness. And the more that you take your seat in this power and realize that your destiny, your life is up to you and no one else, the more influence you will have on the relationship as a whole to guide it in the direction that is going to be most life-giving. My name's Clayton Olson, and if you enjoyed this and you would like to create an extraordinary relationship, my encouragement is to get on my email list immediately, because I send out weekly insights, some of my best, most forward-thinking ideas that come top of mind to everybody. And also you'll get a guide that I've created called the 5 Secrets to Creating Extraordinary Love, which is a distillation of a number of different concepts, kind of like this, but ones that I haven't even mentioned in this video that I think you will find helpful, regardless of whether you're single or in a relationship. So check that out. The link is in the description below.